stepwise motion. And that's why I have you say, oh, well, we're learning these steps. Prostaglandins are blocked by triamcinolone. That's the whole idea of these drugs. If you don't have a stepwise motion, they will just up and down the temperature, what will end up happening to you? So say you have 103 temperature and you jump in a cold shower.
Shock.
You have a seizure, yeah, that does happen. So that's not on the list of things to do. So that's why our body has this stepwise positive feedback loop for the hypothalamus. Okay, now fever can occur because you were out in the sun too long. It can occur because you have a protozoan infection. There's many reasons for fever. But for our purposes and for your test, all I want to know is fever as it relates to gram-negative bacteria. So what do you need to know? Phagocyte chews it up. Endotoxin is in the cell now. The cell releases interleukin-1. Interleukin-1 goes to the hypothalamus. Hypothalamus then releases prostaglandins in response. And here's the thing, interleukin-1's doing a lot of other things too. So there's two major chemical mediators you have to memorize. I have a whole page of them. All you need to know are histamine and interleukin-1. Those are the two major players that I have you learn. There's tons and tons of chemical mediators. And you should know if you're taking if you're taking a leukotriene inhibitor like Singulair, you should know what Singulair does. Okay, they're working on a bradykinin inhibitor. They don't have it out yet, but you should know what your drugs are doing and what they're blocking, because what they also have side effects. Like Singulair, for example, some people need to be on because they have pre-existing conditions and they have asthma. But with Singulair, it doesn't mean suppress you because it's blocking one of your chemical mediators that is involved in regular infection. Okay, so just be aware of that. Same thing with blocking histamine. That's why people get spring colds probably more frequently if they're on these, blockers for the immune response. Okay, so we have inflammation, phagocytosis, fever. Interferon. Interferon is a small protein. This protein does a lot of things. First of all, it activates hypothalamus to release prostaglandins, activates fever. It makes you throw up and have diarrhea. This is a regular protein that we make. So why would you want to be throwing up and having diarrhea?
Let's get rid of it.
Get rid of whatever might be inside of you. It also is active at high temperatures. So it's telling the body to get higher, and it doesn't denature at high temperatures. So it's great. You're like, okay, this is awesome. What interferon does is actually protects cells from viral infection. Now, who releases the interferon? The cell that actually gets infected is the one that's releasing interferon. Okay. Now, the cell could do one of two things. When it comes to bacteria, when a bacteria is getting infected by a virus, that bacteria does everything in its power to chop up that virus DNA and to protect itself, because it's only one cell. But we're multicellular. So when our cells get infected with a virus, and they're already infected, the cell knows that it's infected. The DNA has gone to the nucleus. There are changes happening. That cell could either try to protect itself, or it could do what it does and send out interferon. All right, so interferon's doing all these things, making you throw up, making you feel like crap too, like you felt like you got run over by a truck. But the big thing that interferon does is it binds to the neighbors. And when interferon binds to the neighbors of this infected cell, it tells those cells to start making antiviral proteins. This is very generic. Okay, we're not talking about specifics. There's all kinds of specifics in here. You can spend your entire career studying antiviral proteins, which people do, especially in the case of chronic viruses. Interferon was a treatment for hepatitis C, and because of all the work that they were able to do and use interferon to keep those viral loads low, they were able to get people to survive long enough to come up with this cure medicine now that they have. Okay? Which is crazy. Is it Harvoni? Is that the one? I need to remember the name of this hepatitis C medicine. It's just unreal. I remember back in the day, not even that long ago, it was you could keep it at bay. You're not getting a new liver because no one's going to give you one when you have hepatitis C. And you're just trying to keep yourself in remission for as long as you possibly can. Why? So that obviously new drugs can be developed, and that was the idea here. And they do have now a cure that completely clears out, at least for as far as we know now, for multiple years, this hepatitis C. In the meantime, we were transfusing people with interferon. And what the interferon would do is it would tell all the cells, make antiviral proteins, protect yourself. But it would also make the people feel really crappy. Now, why would you want a chemical that makes you feel like you got run over by a truck and you can't move and you're just laying there like, oh my gosh, death, take me? Why would that be a good thing?
In the long run, if it comes back again, you have these proteins to.
That, and also, who else don't you infect? Can you imagine a population where you got a fatal virus and you had no idea and you felt awesome? You're like frolicking around. What would happen to that population? They'd all die out.
Yeah.
Gone. That's why maybe some of these populations, you're like, oh, where'd that civilization go? Probably had some weird interferon that didn't make you feel crappy. So all that stuff making you feel like you got run over by a truck is actually a benefit to the rest of the population. So what do you need to know? Interferon is a small protein that's released by virally infected cells. The interferon binds to the neighbors and has the neighbors protect themselves. The cell that is producing the interferon does not survive. It dies. So it sacrifices itself for the good of the multicellular organism. Makes sense? And then the last non-specific defense, it complements the rest of the immune response. We call it a complement cascade because the proteins, there's like 30 of them. And once you activate one, it's like pushing, those pennies, you're trying to push the pennies off. So if you push the one, or the quarters, all the quarters fall off in a cascade. That's kind of what happens with complement. You activate the first protein in the cascade, it breaks into two, and then it activates every single one of the other ones in unison and basically does not stop until they're all activated. So you can't turn this thing off, okay? The whole cascade happens. So what does it lead to and why do we care? When you activate the complement cascade, it actually, some of the proteins involved coat capsules. Where are we? Coat capsules. As they coat the capsules, then they enable the phagocyte to grab onto it. So it increases phagocytosis. We call that opsonization. Some complement proteins, when they become active, actually bind to foreign bacteria and blow holes in them and blow them up and directly kill them. So it leads to cell lysis. And then some complement proteins will activate the inflammatory response, which leads to inflammation, which then leads to more phagocytosis. So round and round we go.